What's up with y'all? It is Monday, December 2nd, and I took a trade today, and it was a decent win. This is the first day of a presumably good week. We've got a pretty good week ahead, and this is the first trading day of December, so let's go over it. Alright, this is the price action for today. I'm going to cut some of it off. I'm recording this at like 5 o'clock, so the day already went by. It was a pretty shitty day today. The price was honestly pretty bad. I caught like half of a move on here. I'm pretty happy about that. I didn't lose any money, but like I said, it wasn't really the best day. Going in today, I was very bullish. This candle wasn't here, so it was pretty much this chop, and usually if it's in a trend and it chops like that, eventually it comes out of it super strong. On Friday, I also caught a huge bullish move that was like 300 points. I haven't actually filmed that trade recap yet. I need to do that. I was in Oklahoma for a bit, but I was bullish on the day because even though this just swept all times on the S&P 500, the bullish liquidity targets for NASDAQ today, this high right here, this high right here, this high right here, and then all the older highs. So S&P got to the all-time highs before NASDAQ ended up getting there. Going into pre-market, pretty much just chopping. It had an SMT right here. I haven't marked them out, but you can probably see them. An SMT and then more fair value gaps coming up, and it was just chopping around pre-market and then started going up. I honestly considered just like blanket buying today or just pressing buy without any structure or anything like that, but I decided against it. It kind of would have worked out, but I don't really do that. I sometimes do it, but not really much. I kind of feel bad when I do it just because entering without structure isn't really that smart. 8:30 just started going straight up, at least on NASDAQ. Yeah, straight up a couple hundred points. Oh, 100 points. And then this is pretty much where price started losing correlation. So this one was coming up, and then the S&P started coming down. And then we just kind of catapulted into this like weird fucking consolidation for a while. I don't really know what was going on here. There weren't any setups in here. I was bullish on the day, but I didn't trust any of these SMTs because there were a ton of them. And when there's more than like 2 or 3 SMTs, they're not even SMTs. Price is just fucking dog shit. That's pretty much what I go off of. But later on I did end up catching one, and it was pretty much just based off of manipulation. It had been chopping around like this for a long time, and I'll show the time of the trade. It was 9:51, so at this point this is what time it was, and the NASDAQ was just so fucking overbought. It had all this unfilled fair value gap and stuff like that, so that added kind of a little bit of confluence there. I knew that it was probably going to come down at some point. I don't know how far it would come down or how much or what it would sweep, but I was more inclined to enter on the S&P because it was already more bearish. The NASDAQ was just kind of inching upward. But honestly, it's kind of hard to explain today's trade. I entered off of a 3-minute break of structure, but basically price came down and then it came back up, and it was hanging out around this high. And NASDAQ already swept the high. It didn't sweep it. It was just fucking sitting above it. Like I said, price isn't correlated, but it came up, started chopping around a little bit, came up again. And I thought this was going to be a manipulation. I didn't think it was going to sweep it at all. Didn't really have a reason to because NASDAQ had already done that and it was overbought. So it might as well generate liquidity, come up almost to it, and then reverse a little bit and then come back and take it later. And that's pretty much what happened here, and I'll show you all the breaker structure I took the trade on. This is like the entire morning right here. This is the 9:30 New York open right here on this candle, and then it's pretty much just chopping, no definitive structure other than like the bullish stuff that was already established. And then this broke structure right here. So this was the first 3-minute breaker structure. I usually go off 3-minute just for the most part for a lot of my entries because it's pretty nice. It's not like too high time frame like the 5-minute where you're going to miss a bunch of moves, but it's not like you're trading on the 1-minute and like choppy price and you're just going to get your ass clapped. But entered on the 3-minute breaker structure after it closed above it. I was de-risked a little bit because of conditions. I don't want to say I didn't trade today. I did. I wanted to take a trade bullish, but I took this because it looked convincing enough, and it ended up hitting 2 of my take profits. I took 1 take profit like right around these little lows in here, and then I took like 2/3 of my position off, or half of the remaining position off right here. and this was like my biggest partial. And ultimately I was aiming for the bottom of this kind of low resistance liquidity run here. This was my final TP. I didn't realize that equilibrium was like right here, and so it hit equilibrium of this leg. If you look at this whole leg right here and then find equilibrium, it hit it and then bounced off like that, and then the rest of my position got stopped out. It was still a good win though. I got like 1 R out of it, so I risked like 400. Usually risk like 500, but I risked 400, made like 404, so it's like 1 R. And usually I trade with 2 R, but like I said, the rest got stopped out. And I don't move my stop loss when price is shitty, because when price is choppy, then you can get stopped out pretty easily, and I just like to give it breathing room. But came down. I knew that this would be swept at some point after it kind of generated it. I thought it would go down like a little bit further. I guess my mistake. This thing just went up the whole fucking day. Probably gonna seek out all times on NASDAQ at some point. I thought this was gonna make some kind of internal sweep model on the S&P, where if you guys look, it sweeps, comes up, sweeps all times. It's not going to reverse instantly. It's going to come up and sweep internal and then maybe turn around if it wants to. It's not just going to sweep it and then just fucking plummet. It never really does that. So I was just seeing if I could combine models, but obviously that's more on the high time frame. But yeah, that was a decent day. Got a quick buck out of it. Hopefully the rest of the week should be good. I know tomorrow... My face is lighting up right now. Today we had just PMI at 9 o'clock. I traded after that. And then Tuesday, tomorrow we got JOLTS at 9 o'clock. Non-farm employment, but this isn't actual non-farm. We do have Powell speaking on Wednesday. I didn't even realize this until earlier this morning when I was in class. And I'm kind of bummed out that Powell's going to be speaking, because it gets rowdy whenever he talks. And then Friday we have we have non-farm payroll. So that's it for the week. I made like 400 today. It's looking like a good week though. Next week we have CPI and PPI. Not too excited about that. And then all the other days in this week don't even have any news. That's gonna suck. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today. This was a trade. It's not really the best, but I'm about to go film Friday's trade recap, so that's gonna come out probably before this video. But yeah, it's good to see y'all. You guys have a great day. Peace.